Hello guys, and welcome to this video where I will show you a Hotlap around Spain, then the setup I use, and finally the race strategy. Let's jump right into the Hotlap. Get the DRS on right here, and then coming into turn 1 you wanna brake just after the green part begins. So around 65 meters. Going down to 4th gear, and then you wanna hit the curb, which you can see I failed to do and lost quite some time. Then shift up to 5th gear and go up to 6, going flat out in turn 3. As you're coming down to turn 4, you wanna brake just as this shadow begins and go down to 4th gear. Hit the curb and then shift up to 5th gear when you can put the throttle all the way down. Going into turn 5, you wanna brake just before the 50 meter board and go all the way down to 2nd gear to get the rotation, then up to 3rd when you're exiting the corner. Then down the hill and into turn 7 and 8 where you brake just after the curb begins, going down to 4th gear and really try to go as early as possible on the throttle to get some momentum up the hill. Turn 9 can be a bit tricky, but try not to brake but just lift the throttle a bit and then send it into the DRS zone, coming down to turn 10 where you wanna brake just after the 100 meter board, going down to 3rd and only give full throttle again when you have a straight line. Then coming into turn 12 you wanna brake just before going into the corner and then shift down to 3rd and let the car cruise at half the throttle. Shifting up to 4th and then push down to turn 13 where you are braking just after shifting up to 6th gear, then really hit the apex in 3rd gear and push the car down to turn 14 where you are braking just before the shadow begins. Going down to 2nd and short shift up to 3rd just before hitting the apex in turn 15. Then just full throttle and around the last corner you wanna use a DRS and then the time was a 1:16.9. So let's take a look at the setup that got us this time. So for the aerodynamics we used 38 on front and 34 on the rear. Then for the transmission it was 55 and 50. For the geometry it was all the way to the right for the camber and all the way to the left on the toe. Then the suspension was 7.1, then 9.1 for anti-roll bar and 5.3 for ride height. Brakes were 150 and then the front tires were 23.8 while the rears were 23.0. So that was the setup, and then let's jump right into the race strategy. So after the new setup the tires get really worn very fast, so we're using a medium hard strategy. And then for the setup we just want to change the tire pressure, where we're changing the fronts to 22.5 and then the rears to 21.5. Then for the fuel load you want to put in around 34 laps of fuel. I put in 33.6 and it was not quite enough. But onto the race we go, and we skip ahead to the end of the formation lap where we put in a 0.3, so that was a purple and perfect. But let's get on to the race start. So when you're beginning at Spain, you wanna get onto the right side of the track as you'll get the best entry and exit of the first few corners. So we managed to go from P7 to P4 just into turn 1. So that was pretty good start. And then let's skip ahead to the end of lap 2 where we have around 8% tire wear, so the tires get worn by 3 to 4% each lap. At the end of lap 10 we made a 1:21.5, which is the time you want to be doing in the mediums. So let me show you a lap around Spain when you have a lot of fuel. So going into turn 1 you want to brake just before the green part ends and then go down to 3rd gear and up to 4th and up to 5th, and then you don't want to push the throttle all the way down here but have it around 80%. Then coming down to turn 4 you want to brake just before the shadow, going down to 3rd gear here as well, shift up to 4th and then just full throttle when you comes around here. Into turn 5 where you're braking just before the 50 meter board, going down to 2nd and up to 3rd just as in the Hotlap. Then going down to turn 7 where you want to brake just around the same as in the Hotlap, maybe just a bit before. Then coming up to turn 9 you might want to go down to 5th as I do, or else stay in 6 if you feel that the car is more stable that way. Then coming down to turn 10 you want to brake just after the 100 meter board, going down to 3rd gear and then up to 4th when you're feeling that the car is stable. Over here brake just around the same as in the Hotlap, and the same over here, going down to 3rd gear, hit the apex. Here you can go down to 1st as well, otherwise take it in 2nd gear and then just full throttle when you have the car stable. And then that was a lap around Spain with high fuel, and we did a time that was a 1:20.5. So at the end of lap 14 we have around 50% tire wear, so we're going into the pits. Here you want to brake just around 70 meters to get under the 80 kilometers. Then at the turn-in point you want to do it around 0.5, then you're always sure to hit the optimal one. So we did a stop time that was a 2.4 seconds. And then always remember that your tires are very cold coming out of the pits, so really try and get the tires up to temperature so you don't lose too much time. Then at the end of lap 21 we have around 20% tire wear, so on the hard tires we have around 2 to 3% tire wear each lap. And then I just wanted to show you a lap around Spain with the hard tires, and it is actually quite good to drive on the hard tires in Spain. You can almost do the same as in the Hotlap, otherwise than here, where you just wanna lift the throttle just 95%. Otherwise, when you're coming in lap 22 or around that, it is just the same as in the Hotlap. You can do almost the same, maybe brake just a bit before. But in turn 9, I just wanted to show you, stay around 70% and stay in 6th gear, then you're good to go. But let's skip ahead to lap 26, where I just wanted to show you that you are able to take turn 3 with full throttle. So until lap 26, just stay around 90% throttle, and after lap 26 you can go full throttle. So at the end of lap 33 we have around 50% tire wear, so it is actually perfect pit strategy. And then we have around 0.03 laps of fuel, but we did some fuel management, so use as I said in the beginning of this video, and then you're good to go. So that was it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.